so that you can go to our nationals, we have to get in a 10-hour clinic. 10 hours is a lot to do, especially considering we have a league meet tomorrow. So the schedule is this. We'll be here probably till 11. You guys will have 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock off. From 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, hopefully, we're going to be outside, and I'll give you directions to our outside venue here in a minute. We'll skate till 4 o'clock. You'll have 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock off. At 6 o'clock, we're going to go to a fitness room at a local gym. We're going to cover all of the off-skate stuff that are required for this clinic. Tomorrow, we have the league meet. League meet doors open at 5 o'clock in the morning. We'll be done skating by 1 o'clock. You'll have an hour to grab anything that you need to grab for food, drink, whatever. We're going to try to get you guys out of here soon because I know that you got long drives home. So from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we'll finish up whatever we haven't got done with the clinic. That'll give us 8 hours today, 2 hours tomorrow. That's your 10-hour clinic so we can sign everybody off and qualify you out. Okay? Other than directions that you're going to get in a few minutes, is there any other questions on how all that's going to work? Most of you know it's a new thing. In the past, in order to qualify out and go to Outdoor Nationals, you had to spend the money and go at particular times a year, particular weekends, whether it was convenient for you or not. They're the only times available to go to Colorado or Florida and post your qualifying times and get on the list to skate Outdoor Nationals. Last year, they finally approved something we've been talking about in coaches' meetings for years, being able to set up clinics locally so that coaches can allow you to post the times without spending all the money to go to Florida or Colorado for the clinics. That's what we're doing here. Now, the hard part about it is that we're trying to take an entire clinic that we do in Colorado or Florida over a 3 or 4 day period. We're trying to cram all that into 10 hours. Okay? And unfortunately, we still have to cover all the same topics and all the same things that we do at the training center when we do those clinics. That means you have to cover the off-skates exercises. We're going to talk about the slide board stuff. We're going to go over all the ins and outs of different types of outdoor skating. We're going to talk a little bit about road. We're going to talk a lot about bank track. We have to make sure that you know how the races work, talk about the strategy of the races. We're going to go over all that here just like we do at the bank track. We're probably going to spend a little bit more time talking about the track indoors here today. Normally, one of the first things we do at the track, everybody walks around the track in their tennis shoes before we ever put skates on, and we talk about just all the items on the track. Skylar drew a beautiful picture of the track for us. And we're gonna walk through the track on the board instead of physically. Let's get, do we have all the coaches and everybody here? Let's get all the coaches and demonstrators up here for a second so everybody knows who they are. At any time during this clinic, questions and stuff, you don't have to just address all your questions to me. This is probably the best coaching staff that's been put together for any of the level 1 clinics that have been done yet. There's been a couple of them done, Florida, Texas, but my understanding is they've been pretty small so far, and most of the staff has really been pretty small. Johnny Steve from up in Pennsylvania, very talented skater and coach. Buggy Allman, he's been doing clinics since I was skating. Jeff Foster, Jeff did a lot of the clinics that I skated and coached a lot of with him. Aaron Worrell will be one of our demonstrators. He's probably got more laps on the bank track than almost anybody in the country. Chris Krevling, most of you know him, he's on the world team last year, junior team before that. How many medals you get in world so far? Two, three? Normally people count those a little bit better. Skylar McCormick and Chelsea on the end down there. Heather Richardson, how many years now? 3 or 4 years on team? 2? No. Okay, she seems like she's been there longer. Been on our junior team for a couple years now. Probably the best junior sprinter that we've seen in a long time. And Michael Cheeks, most of you guys know him also. When you guys have questions, my suggestion is to ask the same questions to the different coaches and demonstrators, okay? I may not do things exactly the same way Buggy does them, okay? Well, 2 and 2 equals 4, but so does 3 and 1. We can do things different, but still accomplish the same goals. Another thing, most of you guys have coaches at home. Do not go home to your coaches after you leave here and say, well, you're not doing it right because Kelly and Buggy said to do it like this, okay? They've got their own programs, their own way of doing things. It doesn't make them right or wrong. The way that we do things doesn't make us right or wrong. It just makes us different. But we're all working the same goals, creating the same types of programs, and making fast skaters. So it really doesn't matter which way you go. But you have a lot of avenues here to ask a lot of people a lot of questions. So don't just talk to one coach. Get with everybody on it. Let's talk about where we're going to be going. Outdoor track. Parents that are going to be driving, please listen. In Colorado, there's a tunnel that comes in over here. We don't walk across the top of the bank or the big bike track. There's a big bike track that goes around the top of here. We don't walk across that. We go through a tunnel. When you go up underneath the tunnel, you're going to come out of the tunnel right here. Inside this area, that's where you put all your stuff. There's benches. The trainer has a section here that you go see them for any issues that come up. My suggestions to you is to use the trainer for the things that you need to use the trainer for. If you have blisters and you tape them up all the time by yourself, take care of your own feet in that situation. If you have new things that come up or things you don't know how to take care of, those are the things you go to the trainer for. We had a clinic a while back where everybody that had a hangnail was lining up in the morning trying to get this trainer to take care of this stuff, okay? That's where they'll be. She did a wonderful job. She even drew you where the water fountain's at on the end over there. This is where they're going to set the officials' tables up right here. They do that because the finish line is right here. Now this is what's going to be a little bit different for you guys. Just because the finish line is here does not mean that that's where you start your races. This is a 200-meter track. So when you do races like a 300-meter race or a 500-meter race, you can't start right there. You're going to have to start over here. The 300-meter start line is where we're going to start the 300 and the 500. All of the even number races, the 10Ks, 5Ks, they're all going to start on this side over here. 1,000-meter race, that starts over here. Okay? That is one thing that's a little bit different that you're going to have to get used to, is starting half lap off. Okay? Other things that we're going to talk about a lot. You're going to hear people talking about the seams. The seams on our track in Colorado are a reference point that we use when we're teaching people where and how to pass. Unfortunately, not every track in the world has those seams. Not every track in the world has those seams in the same place that we have our seams. Okay? When you hear us referring to first seam passes, second seam passes, third seam passes, that doesn't mean that that's the only place that you're allowed to pass. That just means that it's a reference point so you know in your head where you're at on the track. Okay? Each corner has a first seam, a second seam, and a third seam. Going into the corner is the first, the middle of the corner is the second, into the corner is the third. The way that the bank works, let's talk about two different type of banks that we have here in the States. How many of you guys have been to the bank in Florida? How many of you have been to the one in Colorado? How many of you have never seen a bank track before? All right, so this is good new information. See, there's about 3 or 4 different kind of bank tracks that are made right now. Here in the United States, we have 2 of them. In Florida, we have a flat bank track, which for most purposes means that the bank is useless. It's more just tilted rather than banked. In Colorado, the bank track in Colorado is called a parabolic bank. What that means is that the bank is dished. What that enables you to do is you can skate at different parts of the bank. It helps accelerate and build speed. Okay? If you tried to skate the track in Florida the same way that you skate the track in Colorado, it doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work. Those of you that have raced in Florida, the way that track works primarily is everybody skates right down by the red line. The only time they go above that is when they have to pass, when they have to find a line to pass. They go on the outside. when you are trying not to be passed, you try to stay towards the red line and protect that, and if somebody's going to beat you, you make them skate up higher and skate the longer track to beat you. If you try that in Colorado, you're going to find that the higher you go on that track, the faster the track is. So if you try to protect down low all the time, the people that go up on the top of the bank are going to be flying right past you because they can use that little disc part of the bank to accelerate. Okay? A lot of these things are going to make absolutely no sense to you until you get on the track. One requirement for the level 1 clinics is that when you go to Bank Track Nationals, you have to go the day early and you have to get one practice on the bank track. They don't want you to go to the bank track for the first time when they say go on the line. That's the first time you ever skated on it. Okay? So try to listen and remember the things that we talked about the track, because it's not going to make sense now, but when you get on it, you'll skate a couple laps and be like, oh, yeah, that's what they were talking about. Now, every single line, when you go to the bank track, you have to learn a lot of different lines to the bank track. Okay, first of all, we're going to talk a lot about the 300-meter stuff. The 300-meter is one of the more important races. First of all, that's how you get your seating for all your heats. Okay? They take your times for your 300 meters, they write everybody down, and then they serpentine the skaters according to how they finished in the 300 to put you in your heats. Okay? We're going to talk about serpentine later after I race this drawing. The second reason why the 300 is one of the most important races is because one of two races that can get you on the world team automatically. If you win the 300 meter or if you win the 200 meter, you're automatically on the team. This is something that's been new for the last couple of years, and a lot of us, I know I'm a big fan of it, I know Buggy is too. I think in our country we need to start specializing in races like that. In the past, we've had skaters that have had a phenomenal 200 or a phenomenal 300, and they ended up staying home because they couldn't place in the 500. Well, now we can specialize. You can be a 200-meter specialist and end up going to Worlds, and your only goal in life is to win that 200 because you can't finish any of the other races. Okay? And that's not degrading anybody. Gregory Gigento's been doing it for years. He's the Italian sprinter. Phenomenal 200, phenomenal 300. I can't guarantee he's going to make it out of the 500 heat. It's crazy. Talking more about the track. We're going to go into this thing over and over and over again talking about the bank track. Do you have any questions so far? More input?
I just want to go when you go into 300.
Okay. Actually, why don't we start that now? Let's talk a little bit about the lines on here. Why don't you talk about the 300 lines first? And then we'll go from there.
Okay, like Kelly was saying, we don't start, you have to excuse me because I have a bad cold. We don't start this over here. Our 300 starts here. And what's important about this start at 300 is where you come into your corner to help you keep your speed going. And just like you were saying, the bank goes up, parabolic. And what you want to do on your 300 is find a spot that's comfortable for you to bring you into the turn, close to the turn. You don't want to be running up here in the middle of the track or up high off the start. You want to find a position, and it's normally just about where he has his green line here, somewhere in this vicinity. There is no golden rule, just like Kelly was saying. Everybody is a little bit different. I teach different, just like he does, and Jeff and John Steen, and everybody has their own different ways of talking. But when we go out there, we look at the line, and I try to get my skaters to find a comfortable spot just about almost in the middle, in that vicinity, give or take, depending on the skater. As you get out there, you'll see there's a turn, and what you want to do is try to come as close as you can into this turn here. Okay, staying low on your back, staying low. So you come from out here so that you keep your speed going. When you hit the turn and coming out of the bank, you don't want to fight to stay on the red line like the Florida track where it's just flat. You want to let your body just drift. Let it drift to where it will take you. If you fight it, you'll lose speed. So you want to come out of here, let your body drift. It may bring you up along here, depending on the person. But don't fight it. If you fight it,